Hi everyone, this is Paul Schmutzler, and I'm here today to show you a walkthrough of a couple of the new features found in Premiere Pro 2019. So these are updates that were just made available late in the year of 2018, and before you know it, we'll be at NAB, and that means there'll be new updates. But there are a couple of things that really stood out to me from the 2019 updates that I thought I wanted to highlight a little bit. I also wanted to put them through their paces because a lot of times the corporate hype doesn't always add up to reality. So let's take a look at 3 of these key new features. First up is data-driven motion graphics. In my opinion, this is one of the biggest game changers for motion graphics. If anyone has ever been tasked with creating a motion infographic, you know how tedious and difficult it can be, because you're basically animating everything by hand, but you need it to look statistically correct. Well, with this new capability in Premiere Pro, those days could be behind you. To demo this feature, I downloaded a free motion graphics template from Adobe Stock. So this is what the template looks like after the animation is completed on screen. Let me back up and show you what it looks like as it animates. So you can see on my timeline I have a second layer here. This is just a B-roll clip that I have from another project, and I overlaid it with the graphic. So I'll turn off the background so you can see what it looks like. Now let's dive into the controls you have for it. First, I'm going to change the opacity back up to 100% so you can see what it looks like by default. Now, there are innumerable ways to customize this graphic, but the most important thing here is the data. So at the very top, when you have a data-driven motion graphic template, you'll see you have this button to edit the spreadsheet data. When you open that, you can actually edit the content that came from the CSV file that pulls the information in. So I just went in and made up my own statistics. These are not necessarily accurate, but I created my own spreadsheet and adjusted the information here. Now, if you want to do it in Premiere Pro, you can, but if it's a massive data change, you probably want to go into an application like Apple Numbers or Microsoft Excel to make those changes. But for me, I was just making something up. You can see I can even adjust how many rows are displayed on the screen, and it'll adjust everything on the fly. All the content here for the names and the numbers is customizable. The colors can be changed and they will correspond to what's in the pie chart. The numbers, of course, are in the spreadsheet data, but you can change the border around the numbers, the color of the text, this title up here, and then this number is calculated automatically. And then this data right here at the end of it is dynamic, and I changed that by hand. Now you'll notice we have one little issue since I changed the data. This 18.3% is a little bit off. That's very easy to fix. Under Data Controls, you'll find Data Text Positions. And then each one of these corresponds to its number from top to bottom. So I know that Makeup Artist is the dark blue. That one needs to be adjusted a little bit. So I'll just slide it over till it gets into a position I like better. And then I might even slide it up some. And there we go. Easy fix. Now there are many templates to work with from Adobe Stock that are very easy to work with. There's free ones and of course there's paid ones, but you can create them yourself in After Effects. But unless you're an After Effects master, I suggest you start with the template because it's much simpler. The next feature I want to highlight is Editable motion graphics templates. Now we've kind of already seen this with the data-driven motion graphics template, but this is also a new feature in 2019. You see here another one that I downloaded from Adobe Stock, and it has a little animation to it. You can just see it kind of has a little slide in and then a little movement on this rectangle here. So again, in the Essential Graphics panel, when I choose this particular part of my timeline, that immediately changes to what I'm editing. So you've got the header text that's set up here by the template creator, which can be changed. And then the body text is 5 different lines. So the first line is set to automatically span 2 or 3 lines, and then the second line would be in between, and so on and so forth throughout here. I use the spacing to create sort of different headings or bullet points, but you could of course fill that in top to bottom with text if you'd like. And then you can adjust the positioning up and down, and then there's 3 different design styles with this particular template. So you have this style on the right, and then this style. And basically those are just changing the colors and positioning. And if you don't like that color, no problem, just change it here. So I want a bright green, and boom, everything is bright green. And of course you can adjust the text size as well here. So motion graphics templates are getting more and more powerful within Premiere Pro, and it's making our jobs as editors much easier and much faster because we don't have to be After Effects experts just to do simple things like good-looking titles. The final feature I want to highlight is vector motion. For those of you who have worked in After Effects with vector graphics, you'll know that you have the ability to click a button that turns on continuously rasterize. And that means that anytime you have vector graphics in your After Effects file, those graphics will act like vector graphics in that they won't lose quality no matter how much you scale them or move them around. Premiere has traditionally not had that feature, so if you wanted that, you had to go into After Effects, do your entire animation, and then bring that into Premiere Pro at the right resolution. Those days are kind of behind us, but as you can see, you have to take that with a little grain of salt. So you can see I have a graphic here that I imported myself. It's this icon over here on the left. It's an Illustrator file, it's all vector data. So in theory, if I scale this up using the vector motion, it will not lose any quality. And you can see I have vector motion on here, but notice we've got pixels all over the place. So it's not working. So here's what I discovered about this. If you are creating a graphic in Premiere Pro that is a true graphic that you're using over here in the graphics panel, then it will work correctly with vector graphics. However, just bringing in a vector file into Premiere Pro does not make it compatible with vector motion. So it seems like that could possibly be a bug that they will fix in a future update, or it could be that they haven't quite committed fully to being able to work entirely with vector graphics within Premiere Pro. Perhaps they're worried about that cannibalizing After Effects, but honestly, we all pay for subscriptions anyway, so you've got all the applications at your disposal. Either way, although it's not perfect, it certainly makes a difference, because if I do want to create a graphic that's simple, like this ellipse, then I can scale that up without any loss of quality. As you can see, the edges are nice and clean when I create a graphic within Premiere Pro. So that's 3 of the newest, best features in Premiere Pro Creative Cloud 2019, and we'll see you in spring for whatever Adobe has next.